I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, go over a few things quickly with you. Then we'll talk about assignments and projects. So mainly wanted to share, even looking ahead at week 6, just a PowerPoint that's in your course shell, going on and looking at some additional academic assessments. We've been talking a lot about norm reference and kind of getting ready for that. And even last week, we kind of jumped into a little bit ahead talking about CBMs, curriculum-based measurements. So just kind of wanted to look at this particular group of slides, talking about different assessments that are out there that we look at. So a lot of you guys know we have obviously achievement test. A lot of those that we give are normed reference. We have screening test. I mentioned here, due to the third grade reading law, Reading Sufficiency Act, we do a lot of screeners in Oklahoma and actually start engaging with parents early in the school year. Once we've gotten some of the screeners done, if their child is low, and letting them know, especially if they're up around that third grade, we start having those conversations about retention due to that law. Aptitude test, you see those more so in the secondary level, high school. A lot of our high schools here within the state, they will administer those and partner with branches of the military where they come in and do ASVAB testing for students. So it gives schools another degree of measurement as far as the aptitude, ability, and levels of students. And also it's a win-win for both the district and the military service. Diagnostic test measures specific abilities. So we do those. We even get into some of that when we're doing diagnostic assessments to determine services for special education. Adaptive behavior skills, I've mentioned that. A lot of you guys, when you're involved in the initial testing process, that will be part of the information that's collected. You get usually some of these back from the regular classroom teacher. And then also you have the parent complete those as well. So there's multiple adaptive behavior skills that are out there. I always like to use the Vinland ABS, mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Normed reference test, that's what you're working on now. There's various formats that could be used. I've mentioned some that your districts may use on an ongoing basis, such as STAR reading and math, map testing. Those are very common. And then even those norm reference tests that requires a qualified examiner. And then the next one that you are going to be reporting on, and we'll talk a little bit about where you're at in that process, are the curriculum-based measurements or assessments. Basically, these are student tests using the curriculum that they're going to encounter on a daily basis in the classroom to determine basically a mastery of their skills or mastery of a specific curriculum. And so, as we mentioned in the last week or so, looking ahead at that assignment, you're going to be collecting multiple data points to see after you re-administer that particular measurement multiple times, you'll get the baseline and then come back and administer it multiple times to see if you can determine growth and then also predict what their aim line is going to be. Okay, achievement tests, they're chosen because they're used frequently in schools. A lot of your state testing, a lot of those assessments are considered norm reference. They're achievement tests, state testing in the spring. They've also are very adequate, reliable, and valid technically. You've heard me mention the WJ or Woodcock-Johnson 4. That's a commonly used assessment or battery that we use in determining initial placement or reavals. You have the Peabody, or often referred to as the PIA test, Kaufman test of educational achievement, and the WISC or the Wechsler is another common one. So those are some common terms that you may hear. Okay, so WJ4, you've heard me mention. I don't know if any of you guys are using the video that I provided on there as an alternate to meet the requirements of that. So you've heard me talk about, basically it comes with 2 batteries, the achievement and the cognitive. And I told you on the video, I did not record the achievement because it's a lot of timed assessments. Those subtests are timed. There's not a lot of interaction, but you can see the different subtests: letter word identification, applied problems, spelling, passage comprehension, calculation, writing samples. A lot of it is centered around, you'll see quite a few subtests centered around reading and mathematics skills. Again, you're going to see a lot of fluency on there. So that means it's a timed, and you're tracking them to determine perhaps how many they got wrong in a given minute or within 2 minutes. Again, you'll see there are upward of 20 subtests. Obviously, we don't go in and administer all of those. Usually there's the first 10 that are common, but there are some additional subtests under the achievement battery that we do administer. Again, continuation of math skills and reading. You'll also see the last few subtests 17 through 20 are dealing with, or I'm sorry, excuse me, 18 through 20, science, social studies, and the humanities. Okay, so we really don't utilize those, especially when determining services for special education. There is what we call the NU form, Form C. It's a brief battery. It's a very brief assessment that we give. The Peabody, you can see there are 4 volumes. Subtests include just general information, which we have that with the WJ4 as well. Reading recognition, reading comprehension, math, spelling, and written expression. So you're going to see some commonalities amongst all the various assessments. Again, the Kaufman you'll see on this chart. Again, a lot of reading in math and written expression, spelling, or other forms of written language to go in and assess them. KTEA 3 and error analysis. Basically, students are going to evaluate the types of answers correctly, the types of items that are answered incorrectly, and then we do a comparison on that. We also evaluate the types of errors students made while attempting to complete a specific task. So we have some task-oriented problems in there as well. The WISC or Wechsler achievement test. Again, you will see it provides multiple subtests: listening, early reading skills, math problem solving, sentence composition, essay composition. All these you're going to see similarities depending on what battery of assessments. So I just want to take a little bit of time and share these with you. Diagnostic test, other diagnostic tests, the key math or the key math 3s. Anybody ever heard that, or does your district utilize it that you know of? No. Test of mathematical abilities, 2nd edition. Again, the WJ4 reading battery. Those are all common assessments. Key math, you'll see there's basically 3 applications. You'll have 2 different test forms. You have basic concepts, dealing with measurement, geometry, algebra, operations, dealing with mental computation, estimation, and then the application subtest. Skip over that one. The diagnostic reading battery on WJ4, you'll see very detailed, specifically around sounds, oral vocabulary, oral comprehension, reading fluency, and reading vocabulary. So on this particular one, there's a lot more oral testing occurring during this particular assessment that we go in, and we have to do a lot of tracking on those students. Gray oral reading test. That's another common one that's used in lower elementary. Have you guys heard of that one before, or does your district use it? Anyone familiar with that? Okay, it's another diagnostic assessment. A lot of districts do use the Gray oral reading test. It says this process is used in initial and emerging reading. So you're going to see that in lower elementary more so than you would in any other area. And also it's going to determine skills that are expected during intermediate grades in school. So relational vocabulary, sentence completion, it will give them a partial sentences and they have to go in and complete that. to make sure they have an understanding of the context, paragraph construction, and also text comprehension as well. Test of reading comprehension, you can see the things it looks at here: syllables, rhyming, note taking, expressive coding, receptive coding, and you'll see phonemes, and then also storytelling. So that's a few of the main ones that it looks at. Test of written language, looking at vocab, spelling, punctuation. A lot of that is looking for mechanical issues in their written expression and their ability to compose stories with vocabulary that's given them. Other language types of assessment that we're looking at, you may see this used in correlation with speech pathologists as well when we're looking at language assessment. So you have the Peabody picture vocab test, expressive vocabulary, test of language development, and for primary and intermediate. So if you look on here, some of the descriptions, you're going to see a lot of picture vocabulary, a lot of picture depiction to see if students can go in and identify and also express what they're seeing. So with that being said, you'll see that it's primarily used for early childhood when students are first entering school to kind of assess the overall vocabulary skills that they have. And it will also kind of give you somewhat of an idea of just how much interaction there's been between students and parents in the home. It gives you a really great idea of how much interaction has taken place. And if you're in lower elementary right now and you have students coming back in, especially lower elementary, that have not been in school much, obviously the last couple of years due to COVID, you're going to see that their vocabulary skills are very basic, very limited, because as we know, things that we're seeing now as students are coming back in, wasn't a lot of probably interaction and support for education that was occurring at home, especially during the shutdown when we were kind of limited in providing virtual instruction to the best of our abilities in public schools. And then students are coming in and we're seeing that there are some significant gaps in their learning, and also especially in their social skills, which is very obvious, and also vocabulary skills, being able to express. And how many of you guys on the Zoom call tonight mainly deal with lower elementary? Is that okay? So most of you on there, right? So those are some common things I'm sure you guys are seeing. The lack of social skills, and then their vocabulary and ability to express is very limited as well. Are you guys, is that common? Are you seeing that? Yeah. Okay. It's just sad. It's going to take us a while to climb out of that and close those gaps. I was thinking about that last night. I mean, it's going to affect an entire generation. If you look, students coming in, especially in early childhood, when under normal circumstances, they're getting a lot of those foundational skills. Now they're coming in, as you well know, in first grade, and that may be some of them's real first time opportunity in a brick and mortar school due to COVID and being out. So have a lot of work to do. The best thing to do is just try to meet them where they are and take them as far as you can from that point. I mean, that's kind of where we're at in trying to play catch up. So I want to share my screen again. If you'll bear with me just a minute, I want to switch over quickly to. So if we're looking ahead, kind of where we're at, where we're going, we have norm reference test report that's coming up due. So I've already noticed that some have submitted, and remainder of you are working on that. I've had some that have emailed me wanting to use the testing video to meet that assignment, asked me to send them the comprehensive report. Do I have anyone on here that is stuck at a point where you're still having difficulties? Has everyone so far gotten what you need as far as the norm to reference and well on your way to completing the assignment? Anything we need to address there? If for some reason you're on here and you email me and I've overlooked it somehow that you needed that comprehensive report, please let me know. I've tried to make sure the ones I have received that I got it to them so they could have the data to pull to complete that report to get it ready to submit. So is everyone good there with that as far as norm reference? Nothing we need to address? Okay, so let's look ahead. I mentioned this last week, encouraged a lot of you to go ahead and determine what CBM protocols that you wanted to use for that upcoming assignment. You'll see after you submit this Sunday, you'll essentially have 2 weeks from Sunday before that CBM report is due. So have a lot of you guys already located your CBM, your protocols that you want to use so you can go ahead and start collecting your data points, because I really encouraged that last week, knowing this is where the assignments really start to overlap right in here from this point on, because you're trying to go ahead and maybe do your lesson plan for the assignments you've already submitted, and then also going ahead and moving forward and collecting data points on your CBM to get ready for that. So is everyone that's on here with me tonight moving forward and progressing without any challenges?
On two CBMs that I could use, but I'm having trouble finding a third one.
Okay, what skills are you looking at?
I'm testing reading comprehension.
Okay, have you went on? I mentioned the last week for sure, and also possibly it might have came up the week before about easycbm.com is a great resource if you have two and you need that third one, to where you can go on and there's multiple resources on there that you could pull to help locate that third one. Have you checked that website out?
I did, and that's where I found the two, but
The two.
I'm having
Okay.
trouble.
Okay, let me do a little bit of research on that this evening, and I can locate you some. And you're doing reading comprehension?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note
For
here.
8th grade.
Okay,
I'm sorry, just to clarify, we need 3 CBMs?
okay, let me switch over and get down here to go over this with you and make sure, okay? Make sure everyone's clear.
I had the same question because
Yeah.
I thought we could just do Easy CBM has like 9 of them. I thought we could just like go through them.
You can also, another thing is you ultimately you can narrow it down to where you just had 1 to 2, okay? Because you're given those multiple times.
I guess that's the question. Is it the same type multiple times, or we need multiple types?
No, you can do the same 1 or 2 and do it multiple times, because you're collecting data points to see how they increase with that particular skill that you've identified.
So then Esther, correct me if I'm wrong. That means if you're already using Easy CBM, you could be good to go.
Yeah, really, she can.
Okay, yeah, thank you,
thank
Jamie. I was wondering the same thing. So like if I use Easy CBM in 2 different areas, say I want to do, letter recognition and, geometry and math, like I can just collect at least 6 different data points in those 2 assessment areas.
That's right.
On CBM and be good to go.
That's exactly right.
CBM, sorry.
You can.
Okay.
That's right.
Just double check.
Now,
Started testing today on the
yeah, and
CBM.
again, on the 8-week, we've kind of adjusted compared to the 16-week. 16-week spend a lot more time on this, but we've condensed it down, okay, into this 8-week format. So on the 16-week format, when we would do these classes previously, we were spending out of the entire semester, we would spend almost probably 5 weeks just on CBM, because they were collecting multiple data points using multiple CBMs. Okay, so if you got that and you got those 2 and you're ready to go. Jamie, does
you.
that clarify for you?
I'm gonna ask anyway.
What's
Is
that?
it okay to just only do the same thing a bunch of times from Easy CBM? Like they go through the weeks?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do too, because I thought we were trying to show growth in one area. So
You are.
I'm testing him on the same exact thing
Yep.
to show the growth, correct?
Yes. So the
Okay.
first time you do it, the first time, if you remember what I mentioned before, the very first one you administer, you're establishing that baseline. Okay. Then you're going up and you're establishing different points. And after your last one, you're going to predict or come up with your aim line. As if you were doing this over the course of the semester based on those 5 to 6 data points, what your aim line is going to be based on how that student is scoring each time. Does that make sense, Alicia? Yep.
So we're gonna take those 6 points and we're gonna create the aim line and therefore create a goal for him, correct?
Exactly right.
For the student.
Yep,
Okay.
your aim line is essentially at the end of it, when it's talking about showing on your chart, your graph, the aim line, show the baseline and the aim line. Your baseline is where they were on the first one. Then you're going to show your data points. And after you have kind of seen that upward, you're hoping it's an upward trajectory. You hope. We're going to pray, right? And you're showing that with your data points. Then you're going to go up and create your aim line where you are projecting based on if you continue this on out for 8 to 10 weeks, where they're going to end up.
Okay, so an achievable goal. that
An
is
achievable
attainable
goal.
for
That's
them.
correct. Based on the data that you've collected. Okay.
Okay,
Does that help kind of clarify everything?
yes, although my student is very low. So let's hope there's an upward line
Let's
there.
hope it's an upward trajectory. And probably, I would say 99% of the time, we have seen that upward. Because they're somewhat familiar, they're going to get exposed and you're going to have your foundation, then you're coming back and reassessing those skills. Okay. Everyone good there? I think all right. I didn't know if your screen froze. Is there any other question I might be able to answer pertaining to that? So you still have a little bit of time. The norm reference is due this Sunday. Okay, then you'll have 2 weeks until the CBM's due. One thing I want to remind you guys, because it's going to slip up on you quick, is again, I want to encourage you to go back and do that lesson plan for your informal. Have it. After you submit this norm reference, I would turn around and fill out that lesson plan template for the norm reference and then get ready for that CBM coming up. That way you've got those completed already, because that's what you're actually going to upload into that portfolio template. Okay. So, and again, it's going to come up on you quick. If you look, I'm going to go back and share my screen real quick. If we look at, let me get over here. The timeline, just to kind of see. Okay, so if you look, so you're submitting the norm references to kind of show you how quick this is coming up on you. Is going to be due Sunday the 25th, then October the 2nd, you won't have anything due. October the 9th, the CBM's due. Okay, that very next week is a short week due to how the semester for the 8-week course ends. Okay, it's a short week. So if you look, October the 10th through the 14th, and I even put on here short week. So you would know it's that assessment portfolio is going to be due. So you will have to have those lesson plans uploaded and then the video, the mock IEP video. Okay, so it's quick. That's why I was encouraging you to make sure you do those lesson plans, and that's one less thing you have to worry about as you're progressing through each week. Okay. So you have the assignment again due September 25th. The CBM's due on the 9th, and then you have that short week following that, and it's going to be due on the 14th. Your portfolio. Okay. Everyone understand that timeline? Kind of see where you're at? Okay, is there any questions, kind of what we have ahead of us and what we have coming up? Nope. Everyone good? Jamie?
I have a
Alicia?
quick question about the video. So you want us to like have it recording our faces while talking? Like
It's recording you.
our
Yeah.
voice, our face, what? The whole thing?
Do what now?
Like our face
Yeah,
or
you.
okay.
Yeah, it's you. So it's a mock IEP. So going back to the beginning of the semester when I kind of gave the overview, it's a mock IEP. So literally you can do it in your home office, you can do it in your kitchen at the table, and you are recording yourself as if you're conducting an IEP meeting. The main thing you'll need to do at the beginning, Jamie, is make sure that you introduce the team to get you used to doing that. I know they're not there, but you need to say, we're going to go ahead and start Johnny Joe's IEP. First, I want to introduce and welcome our guest. I have Mr. and Miss Johnny Joe, the parents of. Then we have Johnny Joe's fourth grade regular ed teacher. We have, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, the building level principal. Just kind of go around as if they're sitting there, then you're going to jump right into it. Okay, and it's next week, since you have a little gap before the CBMs due, I'll pull that rubric up and kind of go over that video and the flow of it and give you some suggestions on what's the best way to kind of do that. That way you're hitting all the points. Again, on that mock IEP, I'm mainly looking for the flow of that meeting and how you're able to flow. And I mentioned last week that there's nothing worse probably than getting into an IEP meeting. Teacher's not prepared. They're scrambling around trying to look for different things during that meeting. And so think about that parent on the other side of the table. How do you think they're feeling about that? Probably not going to be very confident, right? Because it appears that you're disorganized. So mainly just knowing the flow. You have administered these assessments. You know the data. You've done it. Okay. So now we're looking at being able to relay that information and how that meeting flows. It's getting you used to doing that. That meeting, you're presenting the information you've collected through the 8 weeks. That's all it is. To let them know, hey, we've done some preliminary things here. I want to share some data. You obviously are aware that I've been doing assessments, various assessments up to this point. I want to share the information, point out some strengths, some weaknesses of Johnny or Susie, and kind of go over everything and where we need to go from this point moving forward to help Johnny or help Susie. These are some things we ask that you do at home to support this plan as parents. Give them a couple of recommendations, let them know what you're going to be doing there. We'll try this and then reconvene and see if he's made gains. Okay, I'll go over that with you next week in detail. Okay, we'll go right down through there line by line so you know exactly what we're looking for. Okay, any questions there? No. Okay, all right. Alicia, do you have something?
Well, I'm waffling back and forth here. For the portfolio, have you ever had students say that they've had trouble uploading a 15-minute video?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, 'cause I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm glad you brought it up. Just kind of forewarn you that has happened. Where we see it most common is if you use number one, if you use a browser other than Google Chrome. We see it commonly happen with Internet Explorer and Firefox. For some reason, it's like it'll lock up. It takes forever. Okay, so Google Chrome. One thing that I would encourage you to do that helps, and I don't know how knowledgeable you are and comfortable working with YouTube. I would advise you maybe to record yourself using Zoom or format there, then go to YouTube and then upload that and convert it into a YouTube link, and then just drop your YouTube link over on Blackboard. It will connect every time.
Yes, that's
That's
actually
the
a really good
easiest
idea.
way to do it.
Okay, yes, I've done that for a few
Yeah.
other assignments.
I
so
will
that-
tell you, a lot of times if you don't do that and create a link in YouTube, okay, whether you use Zoom or some other platform to record it, and you download that file, save it on your desktop, and then you try to upload that in that format, whether it's a Zoom file or whatever, it takes a while to upload. And so that's where you get into problems with it fully uploading. So we have had really good luck for the ones that upload it and create the YouTube link. It's real easy. I mean, it takes about 2 clicks of a button, and it goes through the process for you, and then it will create the link, and you just copy and then paste it over into Blackboard. It's that easy. It will literally walk you through it. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, is everyone pretty knowledgeable with YouTube and how to do that? If you're not, I will take a few minutes next week after we kind of go over the outline of that video. I'll share my screen and I will walk you through the process using a file that I have downloaded from Zoom onto my desktop, and how you go over to your YouTube in your Gmail, go to YouTube, and you will literally just click, search the file, upload, and then it will take you through the process. So I'll demonstrate that next week for you, okay? And walk you through it, and you can kind of take down step 1, step 2, step 3. All right, to help you out. After that, you'll be a pro. I really didn't know how to do it until about 3-4 years ago. So now I can just go through there, and it's literally 2 to 3 clicks of a mouse and you're done. It's that easy. Okay. So we'll take a little time next week in our Zoom and do that. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good week. If you have any questions, just email. Okay. Have a good one. Thank you.